Taking a look recently at the St. Catharines Museums website, I was knocked out by how many online offerings are available. Here to talk about that from the City of St. Catharines, Kathy Powell. Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks very much for having me here today. It's good to see you.
A lot of things on the website, as I've said, some great virtual offerings. Let's start with the virtual tours.
Well, they're basically what they're called. So essentially, it's just one of the staff with a cam in the gallery doing a tour of different parts of our gallery and different parts of our facility. Most of the virtual tours are pre-recorded and people can go and look at them. But we also have a kind of a school program version of that where we can do either live or recorded. Some school teachers are having a more of a challenge of getting classes all together in the same place at the same time. And so those are pre-recorded, but they can actually do like a virtual field trip where they can all be sitting together in the same place and have a tour live with our staff as well.
Isn't that neat? And can they choose a certain part of the museum on those live tours to focus on?
Yeah, definitely. We have programs that focus on specific topics like the Welland Canal or Black history, or we've got one that's immigration as well, and we can kind of tailor it to whatever is what the teachers are looking for, but also sometimes we just do them based on what we think people would be interested in as well.
Your Tuesday night lecture series has gone online?
Yeah, we've done 3 or 4 now we've done 3 of the lectures so far. And it's been really great. I think we've had really great take-up from the public, and it's been a lot of fun. I did one of the tours or one of the lectures about the Spanish flu, and that was a lot of fun. It's very different sitting in front of your computer by yourself in a room giving a lecture to a virtual audience, but it was really interesting and some great commentary and questions from the audience as well.
Coming up this week, it's the Horseless Revolution. And I'm looking forward to next week's on Tuesday the 9th because it relates back to that dig that took place at the old Chicluna shipyards.
Yeah, definitely. So we're trying to kind of make the topics be all over the place and just interesting topics of local history. So the horseless carriage one is about the Rio and Oldsmobile, which are the 2 first early car makers in St. Catharines, and those are the cars that we actually have in our museum collection. So I'm going to talk about the history of that, and then yes, the archaeology of the Chicluna shipyard and just shipping in general in St. Catharines is so interesting. There's like a million different stories. It's going to be great, really interesting.
You're getting the kids involved in a hands-on way with the Lego challenges as well?
Yeah, we try to do some live and kind of interactive things. So we have some Facebook Live videos where we do crafts and stuff online, and then the Lego one is kind of challenging kids to make local landmarks out of Legos themselves. And those videos, they're all Adrian, one of our staff at the museum. Adrian's making local buildings out of Lego. I think he's having a good time with that, but it's pretty challenging if you've tried to make a specific building out of Legos.
You mentioned Facebook Live on Thursdays at 11:30 in the morning. Legacy of a Pandemic coming up this week?
Yeah, the Legacy of a Pandemic is a project that we started because when I was doing research for our Spanish flu exhibit, we found that we didn't have a lot of information about local people's experience of the Spanish flu while it was happening. And this is the perfect opportunity to ask people to kind of gather that information now for historians in the future. And so the Facebook Live that's coming up is basically a question and answer about what can people do to help share their memories now for what's happening so that we can put it in our museum's collection for, that historian in 100 years who wants to do an exhibit about COVID-19 and this pandemic, what will that look like? At least we'll have some local content. So that's the main challenge with history sometimes, is collecting it as it happens. People don't always think that what's happening is history. They think it's just now.
One of the things I enjoyed on your website as well was the Victorian Era Tweets and reading tweets as if they came from William Hamilton Merritt and his wife, Catherine. That's fascinating.
I love the idea of taking something from history and making it more modern and looking at it through a modern lens because, imagine if people in the past had to write everything down in 140 characters. like how different would things be? Like you wouldn't have these long, beautifully written letters. It would just be a little short blurb. And so we tried to kind of look at history from that lens in a lot of ways. And this exhibit in particular is really fun that way.
Great concept. Thanks for joining us today, Kathy. And what is the website?
At www.stcatharinesmuseum.com.
Perfect. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.